It's been a little while since I posted a video. It's been kind of busy summer. I've been working a lot in the garden, and in this video I'll show you a couple of bits I did to get ready for a wedding party. Me and my husband got married in May, and I wanted the place to look a little bit more special. So here's a few little bits that I did, like this wheel in the pergola. And I've also wanted to make a nicer looking roof for it as well. And then on the fence, we're just gonna add a little branch that it was from this garden. It was just laying around for a while. I thought it was a nice looking branch, and I could put some fake flowers on it to make it come back to life. I thought that would make a nice decoration. We're gonna add wisteria flowers on it. Just had to figure out a way to attach it, and I hope that it's not gonna be in the way. I used two big zip ties to attach it to the fence, which was fairly simple. It would have been a lot easier if I had another pair of hands to hold it in place. This was just luck that it was sitting there quite comfortably without even being attached to it, just the way branches were positioned. Taking a step back just to make sure I'm happy with it, that it's not too low or too high, and we'll see how this goes. I've ordered these artificial flowers from Temu, as most things that I order are from there. I've ordered a few different types of wisteria. I tried to get some like different variations of purple, because I don't know, I think that if they were all identical and exactly the same, it just wouldn't look as realistic. Whereas I got a few different ones, and I tried to put the darker purple ones slightly at the back and then the lighter ones at the front. And then because the ones I'm putting on now, they're quite inexpensive, so I didn't want to spend a lot of money getting realistic looking wisteria when I could use some, like most of it would be inexpensive ones, and then at the very front, which is what you see the most, I would put the ones that are more like realistic looking, the ones that are more pricey. That way, like, you only pay attention at what's at the front, and it just, the variation in the colors, it just made it more real looking. I know that it's not really real looking when it's all just flowers, but from far away you might just think, oh, is that for real? Because it does look good. Promise. Just remember to take a step back every now and then and make sure that you haven't gone overboard like I did with these two. Like, there was no need to make little loops with them. They looked fine without it. You might think that something is nice as you're doing it, but you have to take a few steps back every now and then just to check that you haven't gone overboard on one side or the other, or made it look somehow unnatural. Unfortunately, I haven't taken any more clips of the finished branch because I thought I had enough. I thought this would be it, but I didn't like what it looked like, so I ended up buying those more real looking wisterias to add on, and I did that later on, which I'm not sure whether or not I have it filmed. We'll see as the video goes on, because I've done this such a long time ago that I can't remember anymore. This is my little vegetable garden. I'm definitely not a gardener, but I wanted to try to grow something edible most of it ended up being just flowers, with some salad, beetroot, and cucumbers. And the rest of it just ended up being flowers, but I'm still happy. And most of the palettes I got from either my work or my husband's work, so it didn't really cost us anything apart from our time. And then we decided to make a huge planter and move it to the back of the fence just to hide the fence because it's quite old. I've also wanted to make some smaller planters to plant a wisteria into one of them, or anything really. I really wanted to find a Boston ivy. There's quite a few different Boston ivies, but the one I was looking for, it has a very pretty red leaf that's like very glossy and rich in color. And all the garden centers I go to, they all have a Boston ivy, but it's one of the like more simple looking ones. I don't even remember the name for the one that I wanted, which I am still looking for. I have a little cutting that I got from my mother-in-law that's super tiny at the moment, but eventually I'd like this back part to just be covered in red ivy because it just looks stunning. I once saw it on a tree, and I know it's not good for a tree because it completely overtakes the tree, and from far away I thought, oh my god, there's a massive red tree. But when I went closer to it, I realized that it was just that red wine that took over the whole tree and just made it look magical. So I thought if I could plant it around here somewhere and just cover that whole fence up, that would look stunning. But obviously it'll take a long time for my little ivy to grow that big and strong. And for now, I'll just have a wisteria and the not so special ivy growing along the side of that old fence. And then I planted these are called Vilmas. Unfortunately, I know they look nice and healthy and happy. Unfortunately, I believe at least 3 of them have dried out. From what I've read, I think they prefer like an ordinary soil, whereas I put almost like 80% compost into that planter. So perhaps it was just too rich for them and they dried out. So I'm not sure how I'm gonna remedy that, whether I'm just gonna replace the Wilmas with new ones or if I should just rethink the whole plan and try and plant something else. I'm not sure. And then I'm making a huge what are these called? Arches. If you've seen my previous garden video, I've got maybe 4 small arches on the walkway, and I thought if I buy another 2, but then as I'm building them, connect them together so I can have one super tall, super wide arch, and then I'll poke one end into one of those planters I made and vice versa on the other side. It's just that I couldn't figure out where exactly I wanted it to be. Originally, I thought I'll put it there. Just, again, I wasn't sure what exactly I'm going to do. But I thought if I'm going to find this ivy, that I would grow that on there and then hide that little green bit that it gets a little bit wild in the summer. So I wanted to just to hide that part of the garden and make it look nicer. I couldn't put it up by myself, so I had to call Mum for help. And just like with the wisteria branch thing, same thing, you have to put it into place, walk away and see how you feel about it. and something just didn't feel right when I put it there. So we just tried a few different positions, and eventually we put it on a completely different side of the garden. I hope I filmed it. I think I did. Oh yeah, so those are two planters that we made, and the arches already installed in there, and behind it it's where I put my compost. And again, it's not a very pretty sight, so I'm hoping that eventually it'll get quite covered up by this ivy that I'm gonna plant in there. I'll keep you updated on how that goes. I've used a little bag, the one that arrived from Topsoil where I ordered my compost, just to hopefully help it with the rot. Like, I don't want my wood to get rotten from the soil. Obviously it's not waterproof, this bag, but it's a little something to hopefully extend the life of the wood. And here's my little plants. I believe I have a slight obsession. They're gonna go in there. And I'm definitely planting way too many into this one palette. They need sorting out. If you were to see it now, it looks so different. And then I have this, is it azalea, I think? I don't know what happened to it. It was very unhappy, and I thought maybe it wasn't getting enough sun, so I'm going to move it into the back where it's nice and sunny. And also going to take this piece of wood over there. Not sure what I'm going to do with that, but I just really like it. I found it in the woods. And also, sadly, this azalea it's still there, but it's not really there. Like, I think that it's gone. It's completely gone. I don't know what I did wrong. I don't know if I overwatered it, underwatered it, or if there wasn't enough sun. I'm not sure. I couldn't save it. This hydrangea I got, it's also currently not thriving. It's still alive and still flowering, but it just doesn't like it there. There's so many hydrangeas out there, you just don't know which one to pick, and for some reason this one, it did not like the sun. Almost straight away after I planted it, the corners just got burned. They turned this strange grey color, and then the edges turn brown and just start crumbling away. There's quite a few hydrangeas I have. Again, it was an obsession, and they're all ever so different. I always assumed that they liked the sun, but I think there was just too much sun for it in the back garden. So I think I'm gonna have to replant it somewhere else. This palette here has got 3 different hydrangeas. One of them is a climbing one, which hasn't grown at all. It's exactly as it was. And then there's one that didn't flower at all, and I'm starting to think maybe it wasn't a hydrangea that I bought. The leaves look like hydrangea, but it didn't flower. It seems like it's thriving and growing, but there has been no flowers. And sometimes I know that they import them from abroad where they are flowering and happy over there, but as soon as they reach UK, the flowering ends and then it'll never flower again because the climate is just not for them. So I'm a bit scared that the hydrangea will have to go because I need the flowers. And as I mentioned earlier, I wanted to redo the roof on what's it called? Pergola? canopy, I don't know, pergola. We had those sheets that you can see in the background. They weren't waterproof. I mean, they would have been if when we built the pergola, we did a bit more of a tilted roof so the water can run down. Where somehow, I don't know how, when you do something for the first time, even though you have the right intentions, I just wanted a teeny tiny slope. And once it was built, we realized that actually that slope is so tiny that it's not going to do anything for the water. And especially with the pine needles dropping down from that massive tree, they just kept accumulating on there, which would stop the water from going down even more, that you would just end up with having puddles on the roof, and then eventually it started leaking all over the place. And we wanted to have like a barbecue in there, pizza oven, and not having to like cover them up from the rain. So I thought, since the wedding is coming up and I wanted it extra nice, and the weather, in England, it's always rainy. I wanted to make sure I had a place to sit that was definitely waterproof and dry. So my brother came over to help me out. I think it took a couple of weekends. Again, I got the wood from work. It might not even be like pressure treated. I'm not sure if it's suitable for outdoors, but it was free and I really needed a roof. So we made it work. There wasn't quite enough, and there was a lot of like playing with the puzzle, trying to put pieces together, trying to cover as much as possible, because the plan was to cover it all up with some fabric, waterproof fabric, because we're doing it on a budget. And after a little bit of time, I think I've managed to cover the whole thing. There are little gaps here and there, but I never thought I would have enough wood and like be able to get that wood in time to finish it off. But I'm happy with what I got. It's still standing. So this is me removing the old stuff. It was nailed in, but it was quite easy to just push it up and then slide it off. I'm sure that these would have worked if I've done it properly and if there was a slope. And I know there is a slope now, but I couldn't figure out how to attach it. They're quite damaged, and there's lots and lots of holes from all the nails and from where I pushed it up, and it just like made a hole where the nail used to be. So they're not really usable anymore, I don't think. I think I just, once I've put the fabric on there, I did like prop them on top, because they do look nice, rather than have it a piece of fabric covering the roof, which doesn't look very nice. This visually looks a lot better. It's just that it's so damaged that I would need to buy a whole new set of sheets, which aren't cheap. This is the fabric that I've mentioned earlier that is waterproof. Again, I got it from work for free because it was, I think it was damaged and no longer good enough for intended use. So I brought it home and it's now on the roof. It is for outdoors and perhaps works just as fine as this plastic sheet that you can see on the side. It would have the same effect. It's just finding a way to staple it to the roof with the minimal amount of staples, because again, every time you staple it, you create a little hole through which water will eventually seep through. So I was trying to use a whole sheet of fabric from one end to the other, and it's not like tall enough, so I would use one sheet sort of closer to the bottom, same on the other side, and then a third one over the top, so that if the water goes down, it just falls like with roof tiles, the way they are stacked, so that the water just slides right down and doesn't get in between my fabric sheets. I would very much like to replace the plastic that you can see with, let's say, glass or the acrylic type of stuff, so that it's completely clear, because I don't really like what it looks like now, with it just being like a bag that blows in the wind and you can hear the sound. But I wanted it there because it is quite chilly sometimes, and it's just nice to have some protection from the wind. And when I was clearing the back of the garden, I did find all the original windows from the house. There was just piles and piles and piles of windows just left there to rot. So I don't know how long they've been there. Many years, because the wood just completely deteriorated, and all that there was left was just like little bits of paint and just glass. More than half of it was completely smashed. Even now, there's still lots of little shards of glass all over the back garden, which is unsafe. But the pieces that did stay together, I have saved. There's quite a few. They're not very big. They're probably like the size of two A4 papers put together. But I probably have, I don't know, maybe 10 to 15 of them. And I was hoping to one day clean them up and try and reuse them, and maybe try and make like a wall just out of glass. I don't know if it would look strange, but I do want to repurpose the glass, and I don't think it would be any good for anything else other than, like for a building in a garden, like a window for a shed, or if I can make a whole wall for pergola, like to make it look pretty, and hopefully there wouldn't be any sound like the sound that the bag makes. I don't know if it's a silly idea, but it's on my mind. I have the glass. I just need the time and just figuring out how to attach those pieces of glass. They're all kind of a different size as well. So it's gonna be another puzzle, isn't it? And now I'm just using, I think it's furniture paint. I just really like this color. I've used it before. I think the rest of pergola is made in this color. I wanted to use something really durable. Like I said, I don't think that wood is like treated, so it's not really protected from the rain. So my next best thing would be to use a really good like seal to make it last. And it just, I don't know, it just gave it that little old rustic feeling. And the little gaps that you can see there, I think if I was to try and put the paint in there, it would kind of hide the white bits and you wouldn't really notice it unless you're looking for it. It would just like, well, like in here, you can't really see it anymore because I tried to paint all the white bits. I think I ran out of paint pretty quickly and it would benefit from another coat in those gaps. But I was rushing to finish it off in time for the wedding, and with all the pretty things I hung on the roof, you can't even tell, like with all the little lights that were on, it looked really pretty. I still have all those bits hanging there, like these little bird houses. I got them from charity shops, so they were like only a couple of pounds. I've been collecting them for a while now, so that's why they're all slightly different colors. I wanted to have like a lot more than that, like I don't know, 15 or 20, and then like spray paint it all the same color so they match. But there was just not enough time, so I just put them up as they are. And hopefully one day I'll get back to it and do it properly, because right now they're very mismatched. And then just add some greenery inside to make it look like something is growing from those little bird houses. Yeah, just makes it that much more magical, you know? There's a close-up of the flowers. I've only had enough flowers to make 2 garlands, so I decided to put the first one at the nearest one and then the other one on the last arch. And this clip is from after the wedding. This is when we decided to do some work on our lawn because it was looking a little bit tired, and I also always wanted to have like a succulent garden, and it is under an apple tree and the leaves will go down and cover my succulents, but I was just too tempted not to try it, so we'll see how this goes. I just got loads of different succulents, some blue stones to put in between, and also this little corner here has a very sandy soil, probably from when they did the pavers. It must have got mixed in with the soil, and I just thought it would be perfect for succulents. And the other reason why I wanted to do it is because I'm trying to make the lawn like slightly rounded. I got tired of the square looking lawn. It's very, what's the word, like you see it everywhere, and I just wanted to soften it a bit and round off the edges, and that gave me like this opportunity to make this low maintenance succulent corner here.
Cruising down the highway, windows down low. Sunset paints the sky in a fiery glow. Mountains rise up, touching clouds above. Valleys below, filled with whispers of love. On this road, every seed's a delight. From sunrise to starlight, day to night. Nature's canvas unfolding so grand. In this journey, we're living unplanned. City streets pulse with energy so bright. Neon signs flashing in the depths of night. Skyscrapers stand tall, reaching for the sky. As we pass by, with dreams flying high. No maps, no plans, just an open road. Wherever it leads, we'll happily go. Each sight, each sound, a memory to keep. In this adventure, dreams run deep. On this road, every scene's a delight. From sunrise to starlight, day to night. Nature's canvas unfolding so grand. In this journey, we're living unplanned. On this road, every scene's a delight. From sunrise to starlight, day to night. Nature's canvas unfolding so grand. In this journey, we're living unplanned. I hear the beat, it's in my chest. Got me feeling some kind of way. I confess the rhythm takes over, no room to rest. My heart's dancing, it's a love conquest. Oh, the melody, it's smooth and sweet, like honey dripping from a golden bee. It's the soundtrack to my soul's heat, making me move from my head to my feet. My heartbeat, yeah, it's pumping so loud. It's the rhythm of love, baby, that I found when the music plays. I just can't help but sway. Nothing else matters, it's my heart that obeys. Lost in the sound, my worries fade. Every note, every chord, a serenade with each beat of the drum. My spirit's unchained in the symphony of love. I am unafraid, yeah, it's pumping so loud. It's the rhythm of love, baby, that I found when the music plays. I just can't help but sway. Nothing else matters, it's my heart that obeys.
I will keep you updated on how this little project goes, if they survive. I think I'm the most worried about winter. I'm not sure which ones of them will be hardy enough. And the little green plastic edging is only there temporarily because we were putting lots of grass seeds down and I didn't want the grass seeds to fall into the new edge. So once that was all complete, I just removed the edging altogether, and I've also started rounding off this corner here. There was a big something similar looking to a nightshade, like some kind of potato family bush growing here that I had to cut half of it off just so there's a little bit more sunshine reaching the bottom of the garden. And over here I'm just putting some mulch on top of the weed fabric, which I also did the same where the succulents are, and then I've changed my mind and I was like, oh, I want to add stones. It's a little bit difficult because of the pine needles. We have just so many pine needles, like I can't describe. And not only that, there's these pine cones that they're I don't know what kind of pine cone it is, but it just turns into these little brown leaves that just go everywhere the pine cones themselves are like huge, so just one pine cone eventually turns into these little leaves, and they're just everywhere. So if I was to put like decorative stone, the pine needles would just get in all the cracks, and then those little pine leaves, I don't know what to call them, they would just fall on top, and all my stones would eventually disappear. So it's gonna be mulch for now. My little baby plants, I think I've started them a little bit late in the year. Oh, this one needs some water. It doesn't look very happy. I'm gonna hide them a little bit further away from the sun. Hopefully it's gonna recover. My garden still needs lots and lots of work done. When we moved in, the grass wasn't even growing at this bit here. This was pure pine needles, just layers and layers of pine needles that we had to scrape up bit by bit and try and fit it into our garden bin. Again, this was also just pine needles. I was very surprised to see that grass actually started growing, and as you can see, the old building is now gone. It's not really gone, it's still around the garden, just like laying around over there. That's part of it, the wall. And then there's just old wood everywhere. I'm trying to cut it into small pieces so that eventually we can take it to the tip bit by bit. It's just taking a very long time. And here's my dying Vilmas that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. I still have to make this little planter that currently just stores all the flowers that need planting. My wisteria is growing on that side, and you can't even tell, but ivy was definitely there. Dahlias that aren't doing great. I'm sure one day I'll have beautiful dahlias, but you know, it won't be this year. And before I go, just wanted to share a few photos from the evening after the wedding, just to show you what it looked like at night, because it was just so pretty, and I haven't taken any videos, unfortunately. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon. I hope it's not going to take me as long as it did to make another video. Thanks for watching. Bye.